Gen.G end up taking the first map, as most of you guys would have predicted and expected, but XSET kept it a little bit close, and it was largely off the work they were able to do on that defensive side, but then they switched over to the attack, Alex, and everything seemed to fall apart.
Yeah, unfortunately for XSET, they were trying different things, right? They tried to adapt, they tried to figure out how they could actually work against Gen.G's defense, but it just didn't work out. I saw the cameras that are put at the beginning of the round onto mid side so they can try to stop that aggression. The utility from Silva, I find that I didn't find much from BCJ actually, so they could act upon and gain a little bit more map control for XSET. It all came down to the heroic plays that Aaron was trying to do, right? How he entries with the showstopper. That was the best chances that XSET had to get into either A or B. From his showstopper and his satchel charges into the heaven side to try to create that space. But I found that it was missing a little bit of chemistry for them to get anything done on the attack. They only got one round, I think, on the attack.
Veli, looking at their attacking side, it seemed like they couldn't really get past that explosive mid-play that started at the tail end of the first half and carried over as Gen.G switched to the defense.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of the tail of the tape right there.
You know, you're definitely right. I'm going to tell you now, when Gen.G feels a lack of pressure from mid or cat, they address it fast, man. And this helps with fast mid executes, like round 11, where they use numbers to fight Aaron and route the planning at B. You know, yes, they lost that round, but still, it was great pressure. On the very next round, they were given free space again, and they took it again. DDK called out their explosiveness, and that's exactly what they used to punish BCJ at Tree for the A take, and that helped out win the round with his beautiful 4K. Now, Sean and Win, they're the ones that prospered most by this, right? Because those are the two players that use the buddy system. Even on defense, you saw Sean go out the catwalk and kill two players top cat, but who had his back? It was that man Win with the op play, and in order to get kills like that and dominate the middle part of the map, they left XSET with no answers at all. I love that aggression and execution from him.
Christine, looking at Sean specifically, that's a player that very much stepped up, a player we profiled coming into this series. Reyna just seems to work for Sean.
Sorry about that. And yeah, Sean, he uses Reyna's kit so well, right? And Belly just mentioned it, the two-piece that Sean was good for almost every single time, whether the pressure was coming towards mid or whether that pressure was coming towards B. He was always in the right place at the right time, applying the perfect amount of pressure, dismissing away, and setting up his other teammates for the frags. And I love to see Sean with the confidence, not overzealous, not trying to do a little too much, but just doing his job, doing it well, and teeing it up for the rest of his team.
Looking at that first map too, it would have been a tremendous opportunity for XSET to really get themselves into the series. That was Gen.G's pick, and for a while it was really starting to look like XSET was going to take it. They go up 7-5 at the half, and we're thinking, okay, maybe this is their opportunity to really stick it to Gen.G early in the series. Now we do move over to Haven, which is more comfortable territory for them, but they're down a deficit. Vansili, are you a little bit concerned that XSET's going to have a hard time resetting with some of these younger players on the roster?
I think so, because Ascent, to get back to it, Gen.G only had a 33% win rate on that one, losing 3 and 6 into VCTs. Now you're going to Haven. They have a 78% win rate. They went 7 and 2. They could beat the teams like 100 Thieves. They've beat teams like Energy on this. When as comfortable as he looked on Ascent, if he's comfortable on a map like Haven, you're going to see him pushing towards that B side now, opting towards mid. Towards the A side, he's going to opt towards long. He's going to be all over the map to be able to just hold Gen.G on the defender side and just actually make it look as if they're playing the attacker side on Haven. This is going to be a tough matchup for XSET. Again, I said it, XSET looked a little bit readable versus versus FaZe yesterday. I feel that if they had the same type of playstyle, they're in for a very tough fight.
And you know what, Vans? I'm agree with you on that one, man. It was the jet play that was just destroying on the side of Gen.G, right? I'm gonna need Pure to step up. Win should not be popping off like that, getting 4Ks after 4Ks, whether it's with the op or whatever it is. If you're the opposing jet and the other jet is wreaking havoc on your team, boy, you better get your economy up, get an op, and show them that you're the king of this map, because that right there was a difference to me on Haven. I mean, excuse me, the last map on this end.
Yeah, Win popping off definitely was the X factor for Gen.G. I think you said it yesterday before we kicked off the show, Veli. All he does is win, 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 no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what. It's what he does. He's got money on his mind. But we're going to be throwing it over to the casters to see if that's going to carry over into map 2. We've got DDK and Rivington standing by. It's all yours.
Potter, it's just what the cool people do. It's just what the cool people do. Getting into our second match coming in here soon. It is going to be XSET versus Gen.G. Once again, I'm excited to see map 2. Map 1 was close. Gen.G takes their pick. Now XSET's pick of Haven coming in here. And I agree with Vans. That's going to be a tough one, even with XSET's pick and they get defense. Gen.G's got some good percentages lately here on Haven.
Yeah, it's hard to really make arguments for XSET right now. You know what the win conditions will be looking like for them, but you know, hopefully they're able to find their footing. I think for both teams it was kind of awkward because it was difficult on the attacker side. That said, you know, XSET, they are a team that they've managed to land on the defensive side on every single map here in the series. So that's actually quite interesting to see. That clearly that's something that they are doing because they're more comfortable there. I don't think that they would want to start on the side that they're not comfortable on. Don't think that makes sense. So I'm looking really forward to seeing some of the setups that they may be using. And again, you know, they do like to make some gambly kinds of plays with the way they'll stack to certain areas and play off of the way they play off of their early round info is going to be something that I'm looking out for. But ultimately, it does seem like Gen.G is kind of powering up. They're quite a versatile team. And looking at kind of Win's form at the end of Ascent, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the percentages for the rest of their Haven plays here, and it has gone up and down. The ebb and flow here coming into the last challengers, it went down. The one before that, it was decent, but it definitely isn't favoring them as much as it should, if being their second pick. Maybe they kind of feel it as a toss-up where they can take Gen.G off guard, play a little bit more around the aggression, and if Gen.G doesn't have a sentinel on this, that's Kusta's job. So they're just kind of maybe thinking if it's the Cypher is usually the play for Haven, or maybe it will be something else. But that means push up, right? When you see a non-sentinel squad, you are hitting the flanks almost every round from defense and grabbing that info.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the way that Gen.G play their attack, I think it's pretty predictable at this point. If you've watched any of their games, which I'm sure that XSET will have done, and that might be part of the reason why they're starting off on the defense as well, because the flow tends to be, you know, mid-centric defaulting, like early rounds, some C-long pressure into like a late rounds A-hit type of. That's kind of the flow that you're looking at if you're playing against Gen.G's attack. So we'll see exactly what happens in terms of XSET's ways to deal with that, because it would be cool to see them playing aggressively in mid to try to take the game away, because I think that the way that Gen.G also play it is that they know that they're giving up a lobby early in the round, so they have some good tools to deal with that. So I think you know, one of the ways you can get edges against them is being disruptive and in meeting them head on. However, Gen.G has the confidence right now, and maybe XSET aren't quite feeling that as much. So I'm hoping that we'll see some cool setups early round in mid aggressively from the defense of XSET.
I like that you bring up the confidence, because you need that, really. I mean, it shouldn't say you need that. It helps to last map with Mikhail firing an ult over the shoulder of Win, diving in, double killing at Tree, moving forward, the rest of the team there to help out, and Sean. Things like that will make Gen.G pretty unstoppable here in these lower bracket matches until somebody can figure out how to stop that. And I think maybe they're just kind of inserting those strats now. What does XSET have to bring to the table? I'm excited to see here as we get into Haven. It is going to be XSET on defense, Gen.G on attack to start this one off. And it looks like they are going to have a little bit of love for mid to start here, like you were hoping, Dan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much they'll get out of this, because we see initially Gen.G actually spotting that and like, okay, we don't really want a part of this. They're going to fall back out towards A very quickly on this pistol, and Kooks is leading the charge. Will take down BCJ, so that will help them to open up some position, maybe have some breathing room to plant this spike. However, XSET do have players in from spawn. Oh, Gen.G though, answering back nicely, looking like they have a huge advantage here as they try to get the plant down. Also trying to fake it, because if there is a player on the spike and he's planting it, obviously for those 4 seconds, they're down a man. And Sean he's just ravaging the defense right now. XSET, they got wiped clean, pretty much.
Taking them out with the Reyna, on fire with Phoenix, it doesn't matter. And Dan, I love the adaptation that round of what happened. There was, you saw at least the Omen and the Jet mid, right? And then you felt the utility of something else. So you're saying, wait, all right, yo, cat short, go short. We're going to beat them into sight, and then we set up. So really quick on the fly play there for Gen.G to understand that it was a stack towards B, and they take over with the power and numbers on A almost immediately.
In this round, the only firepower really is the Sheriff for BCJ, and on the XSET side of things. So not really too much for Gen.G to worry about, as long as they are... Okay, well, there goes the Sheriff.
No. Clothesline.
Well, there's a control, so that kind of tells Gen.G exactly what they need to do now. So that's pretty much over now for this anti-eco. With that said, though, and maybe XSET can find some exit kills. Again, though, the reason why that's unlikely is because of the control in mid from Sean, and also the control from GMD and A lobby. So there is always a safe exit. And you're not really motivated to kill these remaining players. You don't really get that much for doing it, except ultimate charge and maybe a little bit of kill bonus.
Yeah. Or they're gonna, oh, I was gonna say they're gonna throw themselves into the fire, but more like the shock dart as the flawless round comes up. Sean finds himself another round there as he's just racking up the alt orbs through fragging out. And we are now into round 3. Should have weapons on both sides here. We'll see how XSET decides to play this, where their defensive is going. Always getting a few traps over towards that C side, makes it easy. It looks like they're going to leave B open, which is kind of a carefree thing. But they're going to do a window trap instead of the forward one that would detect a garage push. So we'll see how they decide to rotate off of this. And it looks like Thryfo is going to have to stay in C a little longer, depending on what happens.
Yeah, I like this from XSET, playing sort of retake on B, trying to get that aggression towards A lobby. They know it's a pretty good shot, that early round timings, that this will be somewhat free for them. B's going to go to Gen.G, as we expected. And now it just comes down to, you know, this is something that XSET would have probably expected as a very strong possibility. But it's hard to hold on to this side of things. There's no flanking though, so there's no A lobby push, there's no window control or grass control coming from XSET. That might make things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I love it. I think we saw, obviously people do it, but I know we saw Sentinels doing this quite a bit. It's just quick beef, dash in there with the jet, get out. And it just seems to be that round that works when you set a precedent towards other sites. But wait, XSET making a fight for this one as Kustas finds 3 with the Spectre just outside as they all line up to defend the spike. What a round there for Gen.G, but you gotta love it. In and out, you know they're gonna have to pressure it, and they're kind of back on their heels now for another round. 3-0 Gen.G.
Yeah, I really love this when you're on the bonus as well and you have the SMGs, because as you say, you know that you're going to get the plant, and so that's going to draw guaranteed fights to you in some spots where maybe you don't feel like you have a lot of advantages, but you get the spike money and you are going to force fights. And if you get some good timings, you might win the round. So it's like a great way to play the bonus. And yeah, we're still going to see a spec there on Michael. So economy definitely looking great for Gen.G, as XSET certainly on the back foot on another eco round. Bucky for Weeded. We see a Frenzy on Puro. Sheriff on, or I think there was a Sheriff in the mix. Yeah, there we go. Onto BCJ and Thryfo. So there is some firepower here for XSET. And you can see that they're almost anticipating a similar play, at least in the early timings. But there is a tripwire there to alert them to that.
Yeah, you only take that Vandal fight once when you only have a pistol. Backing up to see if they can get the close angles now for XSET inside that A site. And next round, definitely want to see XSET pushing up a little bit more, grabbing the info. It's something they suffered against FaZe, where FaZe was able to grab ground and know they could get someone there almost safely. But for this eco, it's all about the damage XSET can do to Gen.G's economy. Aaron takes one down there as they come in. Looks like it'll be the 3v3, but hard to take.
And it's such a smart rotation
30
too from
seconds
Gen.G, because in the middle of all of this, of course, we can see the lurk from Win.
Yep.
Able to take a lot of control, and he's actually trying to attack the safe rotation through spawn from the defenders. Wow, that's a great swing from Thwyfo, able to take down Win. That's a very important kill, and that's going to allow them to get quickly onto the site. And they know that there's no time here for Gen.G. Gen.G have to plant immediately. There's no messing around, which kind of guarantees XSET a faster rotation to attack this site, as they know that the closer positions for them aren't going to be taken. They know Garage is free, and here comes the attempt to split onto the site. MD will get caught in the back, and looks like Mike will get caught quite badly as well. So that's a very important round for XSET to pick up. Very well played by them. I think both teams played this round correctly.
Yeah, there was amazing comms there. No one rushing in without the control of knowing what's going to happen first. Everybody looked at the angles that they needed to, and that dart that Thwyfo was able to find on, I believe, GMD it was, that kind of put a nail in the coffin for that one. Really great utility to still have up in the site, thwarting that one, and we see the XSET retake ability, again, coming into play a little as we go on to our next round. Here comes the op, though, for Win. It's up against Pure.
This is going to be interesting. There is a possibility for a forward paranoia as well as a dash, but it is, of course, the operator, so it will be forced back. Feeling the presence, so quick Garage take coming through. Sean going to pop the run it back as he charges in to gain some space. The Tripwire doing his job. The paranoia also really slowing things down here. XSET are managing this situation pretty effectively, but the jiggle against Win, that's not going to work out for Pura. And now suddenly, huge ground game by Gen.G. They were able to take one back with the showstopper. Weeded with the lurk through the smoke for the double. And it's looking very difficult now suddenly for Gen.G. But Sean coming in from the back is changing everything. As Kusta takes down Weeded, there's nothing left for XSET.
Wow, I mean, Long Sea is obviously one of the op havens, if you will, on Haven. But to just see the dry peaks on each other, that's not normal. That was, Spira was trying to say, I got this, and Win said, no, I have the way longer angle, easy shot. You would have expected that maybe to come from the top of the C box, but it goes either way, right? Pura hits that shot, and we're talking about it differently. It is 4-1 now as Gen.G kind of staves off losing more than one here against XSET. Keep that advantage in their favor. XSET forced back onto a semi-bye.
Fighting one tag, but that is that for now. And you can see things are slowed down a lot here for Gen.G on the default, just trying to see if there's going to be any early aggressions coming in from XSET. XSET playing quite passively themselves as well, leaving the Cypher util towards A long and short just to be the info, the sole information for them. So right now, XSET don't have really any information. It's just what the Cypher cam may see.
Difficult to play comfortably off of that. That's not, maybe you feel comfortable at the shots when they get into sight, but using your util as soon as you see somebody and they're already cresting the entry into the site you're defending becomes a little too late. Here we have it into the A spike site, and the Hunter's Fury is not going to connect too much. He's forced to fake that as from the shadows gets canceled out, and now it is going to be a full hit here. So Gen.G already in, XSET to now perform another retake. Let's see how they do it with one shock dart out and a bit of damage.
Awkward stuff for them on the retake as Curious trying to make some space here. The dash comes through right into the cage there. Will get taken down. BCJ able to get one kill, but Sean is going to annihilate the rest. Easy hold for Gen.G. They are looking indomitable on their attacking half so far. 5-1. And it doesn't seem to be improving for XSET. It's a tough one. You know, XSET, they played it really passively, and there's not really anything wrong with playing it really passively in a situation like this where the other team slowed the pace down so much that they're trying to punish you playing for information. It's just those retakes are not working out.
Yeah, I think the consideration of playing it passively also passively also has to be thought about what ults are ready. With the Hunter's Fury there, Sova can just dry fire it into the defense entry point on A, and you have no way to help somebody if they're on default box. Heaven might be already smoked off, so being that far back, having the ult pushing you even farther back just, you know, adds to it. So it makes it difficult without considering those heading into the round. 5-1. See what ults might be up here. That Blade Storm as well as GMDs from the shadows. We'll see if they use that at all. It's Waifo's Neuralink already down here. So it looks like it's going to be a C hit with the garage play, and already through is Sean on the enemy lines.
Some trades coming through, but it's quickly over as Gen.G just have too much. Nice anti-eco again, really able to deal with any of the shenanigans of XSET. I was really looking forward to seeing We Did accomplishing something in the dark cover with the Bucky, but not to be. 6-1. It just continues this dominance from Gen.G. Of course, there's still an opportunity for XSET to turn things around, but really it should start here. And off the bat, we're not seeing anything too unusual from their initial setups. The Cypher utils mostly towards the C site there, looking to hold the backside if there is to be a finish on the C site. But again, mid pressure coming in as expected. A very fast lurk though from Kusta into short B. Oh, wow. Okay. Oops. GMD gets caught immediately by We Did there. So some of these plays not working out off of the ults.
Feeling like they have a little padding to throw these few rounds in there. Get the nice trickery ones. And as well, if you can make these rounds count, then you're just in your opponent's head all sorts of ways. Here pushing into A once again. So look how far they can get up before being seen, right? Those kills happen. Everybody's forced to rotate. Beautiful job by Aaron there to be there off the rotation since B isn't on full watch. But it's a scramble now. With Gen.G getting so close, they just start pulling the trigger, and XSET has to run. Nice dash out of the window. A little damage there, almost taking him out, and Mikhail answers back.
Waifu finding some position to creep around the side, though, in the chaos, and XSET will finish it off. So it's an interesting one, Riv, because XSET, it's not as though they... Obviously, they did a great job to win the round, but it wasn't off of the back of them taking the initiative. It was them punishing plays by Gen.G that didn't work out. And so in that sense, you know, what you're always looking for in XSET's position is how can they replicate this success? Well, they got the kills on Sean, who, you know, didn't manage to do what he wanted with that run it back. And then obviously the very risky spawn from the shadows coming through as well that was punished by We Did. So XSET, I mean, it is something though. They get another round on the board. How can they keep it going?
They like playing with fire. That's just it. More power to them. Let's see if it works. They're going into round number 9. How do they push? Oh, there it is. A little bit of push down long. That sonar allows them to get a bit more info. They can start to organize now. We're going to see Aaron probably push off, and now they rotate over. Love to see it. Gen.G, Sean, another repeat. Run it back, coming through Barrage. As soon as Twyfo turns, that's going to be the time Sean comes around the corner, and Wynn's going to pick one up on Pure as well.
Yeah, excellent work.
Spike planted.
XSET didn't know what hit him.
Last player standing.
That initial duel on long, that Omen battle, was really where things started to get out of hand. It was a great swing from GMD, taking down We Did in the 1v1, and just that fast control. That was the opportunity that then a quick play into Garage, the run it back coming through from Sean. They were just ready to pounce off of that frag. Putting XSET back in a very tough position again. For XSET, it's either the case that they can challenge the default early on, or they play really passive. When they've been playing passive, their retakes haven't been working out, and they've not quite found the success there. There has been some close rounds in that regard, but generally they haven't found success there. And when they're trying to attack early on, we saw it in that last round, it backfired and they got punished as well. So it's almost feeling like for XSET right now, you know, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Right, you see him trying to sort out who can buy, who can't. It's been a little jarred. I mean, that'll happen when you got somebody saving and blade storming and then buying. So you work around those, the sheriffs, to help them a little bit longer of range. But a full save for Thwifo there with the expensive cost of Cypher utility. Round 10. We've just started off on this one. Map number 2. Quinn's going to open it up on a Thwifo a little bit too far on the leap as he tries to get a peek long. Almost the push as well from Pure to get a kill for himself as they are trying to trade back. It's just not going in their favor.
Definitely. It's this time Gen.G's not in a position to pounce for a C-split, but still they're 5 versus 4 up. There's a lot of time left on the clock, so what they can do here is they can, as you can see, they're forcing a lot of fear towards that A site, that there's a big rotation for the defenders. Then they can just go into the spots on the map that are open, such as B or C, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Completely out of position on the defense, XSET, and Gen.G will walk into the B site for free. Sean is clearing it out, and they don't have to commit the spike here as well. They can maybe force some mistakes here. They're faking the plant initially, trying to get someone to jump out, and there comes the push. Aaron's going to pull out the showstopper, and after the trades are said and done, is actually not looking too bad here for XSET.
I love the fact that they ran the strat this round, only peppering B every so often, especially when you get Thwifo down first and all that utility's gone. Now the fight for B comes in. Sean was able to get way too many kills in the site before they were able to take him down. However, Aaron trying to do what he can to Kale. On point with that aim. Eagle eye between the eyes of Aaron. There's the sonar. Fake plant twice. He could still have the ping on him. This is up to VCJ. And a very, very big round to possibly make it a 7-5 here on the first half.
Yeah, that was really well played. I think it's interesting because, you know, Gen.G could have played that out in the mid rounds in one of 2 ways. They opted to go for B, and it was quite smart because they knew that XSET were in a pretty tough position and that you want to try to attack the site when the player is planting the spike. So they were faking it a couple times to actually force a push through the dark cover whilst they were holding it. But even still, XSET found some great timings, great engagements, used the utility well. Aaron with the showstopper, that really made the difference. So maybe back here as we get an aggressive push on C long from XSET. If this works out, that could be huge, but that one cam, the value is insane. They get 2 off of the back of that, and it's again another desperate scenario for XSET.
They try and dash immediately into the site. It is going to be a 4v2 as the rest of Gen.G just create chaos and space, making their way in. BCJ and Thwifo now doing their damnedest to get these guns out of the hands of Gen.G. and give themselves a possibility for a few more rounds as they see the fight's going to start in Garage.
Oh, great stuff there from Michael again. Well, the 7-5 is not going to happen at this rate. It's looking like it could very well be a 9-3 XSET. It just seems like anything that they try is not working out. This was a great play, I think, to try to make because they know that C long has been very consistently played for in these defaults from Gen.G. So trying to take the push there, I think, was really smart.
Yeah.
But they were in a spot where either they had to commit there or, well, they probably just had to commit there even though the cam was up. It's just so tough to make that call. It just feels impossible, honestly. I don't think you can fault them from trying to back away at that point and abort.
Get a slow A here with the Sova drone over towards C. Nice paints to start off. I love the push from Aaron. Oh, through the wall, takes a shot to the shoulder. Aaron's going to try to push there. Kusta is more than ready and waiting with the Vandal across his hip. And now BCJ is going to be in the side alone. How far can he get before Kusta may find another? Takes one out. I love the distraction coming in from Weeded there. That was a beautiful play.
Yeah, it's huge here from Gen.G, this push as well. Oh, I mean, it's the last round, so they have to go for it. But if we look at what they're working with, it's pretty rough. It is pretty rough. Paranoia is available, though, for Weeded. Looks like he's just going to send it straight through. Side. I mean, there's so many spots that they can be standing in. It's just very difficult, and they'll both go down instantly. So 9-3 at the end of the first half for Gen.G, and it feels pretty disheartening if you're XSET for sure, because there was a lot of things I think that they did right, but they just couldn't win the fights. They didn't get the timings they were looking for, and Gen.G just performed extremely well on some of their entries as well. Like Sean has some great entries into the sides off of the run it back, the holds, like this were just really strong. So Gen.G looking like they're just simply outclassing XSET currently.
The post-plant crossfires and just playing off contact, knowing when the team can peak and cannot, has really set Gen.G above this game. 14-5 Sean on top. BCJ 10 and 11 trying to frag out. Pure, his last map was his again, but it seems to just be too much weight right now as he can't seem to find the frags, and Gen.G is getting the better of him in these trades. Here we are on to our second. Let's see what they have for pistol down.
Looking like garage control might be the order of the day here for XSET, but Gen.G definitely have the ability to play retake on C. I think GMD has to survive. That paranoia is going to be money. So that's going to be the thing that will allow his teammates to just retake really effectively here. There goes the paranoia, steps straight through to the side, and in comes the rest of Gen.G. Win to open it up, Sean to back him up, and is looking strong at the beginning at least. But XSET, they answer back really strong as well, and it's down to Michael to try to save the day here, but he'll get taken down. XSET hanging on by a thread, but they do hang on, and that's round 4 on the board for them.
Talking about Pure a little bit, it is not setting him back mentally that he's down there. It doesn't matter. He's still doing a great job. Was a big component of why that round was a win. Getting in, opening up the plant, and then staying alive for the time that he did, so BCJ could come up with that other shot for help. They stay in it, 9-4. That first one's hopefully going to rack them up a few more is what they're thinking. And we'll see how they start this off with a quick dart to just see if there's a push down there.
Standing ahead.
It's going to be C, though.
4-man push. Let's go. Oh, this is the spot, though, isn't it? Oh! Well, maybe not. That's interesting. We have a round on our hands now because you can see the run here from from Gen.G. They're gambling that it's going to be A because they know 4 players. They just showed 4 players on C long, so they know their only reaction from XSET is going to be rush A. So. And they have the man advantage. This could be doable here for Gen.G.
You love to see these gamble rounds, DDK, and how they might play out. It really stretches the team thin as they start to enter the site. Trades going back and forth. And it's going to be a quick round for XSET. Yeah.
That's great for them. They convert. And it is funny because, the kill is made on C long. But at the same time, it's almost a double-edged sword because it allows the team that's on the buy to be actually able to just take a side for free. And usually in rounds like that, when you're on pistols, it feels impossible to retake with only pistols. But either way, into the buy rounds, obviously there are some Spectres still in play. And that's something that I'm sure Gen.G will be counting on.
Up into A. How does XSET play this one? Trying to see if anybody's grabbing info right to the smoke. Jet on jet action, and Pure takes down Win. That's going to be a big frag as they swap out the weapons. Vandal now coming up top. Shock Dart doesn't do too much. It falls just behind, but McHale's going to stay for the fight as he gets paranoid, and we're going on A.
Big kill from Michael, though, trying to hold things down. Nice follow-up, too. Gen.G, that's going to allow them to have a very solid retake effort. Aaron's trying to go forwards, trying to take the action straight to the defenders, but it's now down to just Wiper, and the spike is not even planted. Didn't have time, didn't have space, and now they don't have the round. It's Gen.G 10 and XSET 5.
Just able to shut it down. Losing Win in the beginning is an impact frag. Coming in for XSET, they get into the site and just a few in the back are able to really start shutting it down. Maybe not enough util to cover once they're in, but Gen.G they seem fearless trying to get back in there.
Wow, this is a nice spot.
16 on the board for your round. Who's going to be able to take this one? Quick Roomba down low. They know Quinn's pushed up once again. He's saying maybe they won't think I do it twice. Comes a Hunter Fury. Push down A. Uh-oh, that's going to be a quick shot as Win takes down Pure.
That was... I don't know if it was intended that way, but it ended up being such a bait. Oh my god. That feels pretty rough. If you're XSET again, I feel like I've been saying that a lot. And they're forced to go for a mid play here. Kusta takes down Weeded. It gets worse. They needed that pick to at least force some rotation and give them something extra to work with. Viper at least takes down GMD. Kusa makes a forward play, and that's going to be capitalized upon. XSET finding the forward timings now. BCJ punishing due to that fact. And there goes the B plant. Still not done though in the 2v2 as Sean works his way in from Garage.
Exactly where you are.
Oh, they have to go now. They know exactly what's going on. Thanks to the neural theft, Queen is going to be coming forward, and BCJ is taking the confident battles. Love to see it.
XSET needs these rounds. Actually, it actually is looking good for them. Hwin obviously has Blade Storm, and there's a run it back, so they could probably expect something towards Garage this time. But I feel like a lot of what Gen.G's been able to work off of is Mikhail having great games so far, having those Hunter's Furies, causing so much disruption, Hwin and Sean and they're working with that utility over their shoulder, being able to break the movement mold, get into the site, and really mess around with how XSET is trying to defend seems to benefit them here. All going towards one side. That's going to be a quick one. And the family photo of C-Long benefits XSET here. Let's see how they can get in.
Oh no! Oh no! Come the Blade Storm, and just for a second, your heart drops. You think it's possible. Win does get shut down though. He's been imperious so far in this series, and XSET looking like they're gonna be able to deal with this though. The spike will be planted. Not really the power of weaponry for GMD or his teammate. Michael sitting also. Well, it is a sheriff, but no position to work from. And the pressure coming through the suppressing fire from BCJ will keep the defenders at arm's length for now.
One enemy remaining.
And I love this, great decisive play from XSET, just sending it up C-Long, running into a couple players. That's a bit of fortune on their end, and it's again, it's really encouraging to see that. I feel like on the first half they did get a little bit unfortunate, so it's good to see some of that serendipity going their way this time.
I feel like they had the all right, we got this deep breath conversation a few rounds ago. It just seems like they're playing much more comfortable. Those corner checks aren't just like jump peaks that they're trying to get out of. They're fully committing with a few people behind them. And we'll see if they continue to do this. They feel like Long C is going to get peaked again. They say, all right, let's take the fight. Maybe if we drone first, we have the advantage. Last time it was a Roomba, and it does look like it'll be drone first. Smoke comes out, and they can't really take advantage of too much here. Oh, my.
That's a very quick and very important trade, though, from Pura. Ooh, Kusa just dodging the Hunter's Fury. Now, they probably shouldn't commit at this point. Too much time has passed since those initial engagements. They know the rotation is in. So they're holding position, and they're hoping that either they get a peek for info from the defenders, they get a kill, then go in, or enough time passes, and the defenders will have to rotate off if they don't get info. And that's what they're waiting for. One of those two options.
Still have Hwin hanging out over on A. Vandal's ready. And it looks like he may be the first one to find the next bit of action, unless mid is going to be what's hit. Like you said, Cam there really nicely plays for B. They don't have to offer too much aggression from the defensive side, so they can stay floating. But it actually looks like they're kind of reading it here. Mikhail thinks he's going to be seeing something soon. XSET is so ready to just play this one out to the last 20 seconds. They're going to put the pressure on and make Gen.G play this a little sweaty.
I think this is really smart. They forced Gen.G into a spot where they have to play 2 to a site, and if they get these initial entries, they'll win the round. But it comes down to that, and they'll take down GMD's up to Kusa. 70 points of health. Why is the timing? No way! There's 3 quick ones, and just like that, Kusa, he could have saved the day. The spike has to be grabbed. There's just enough time to plant it. But can BCJ keep himself alive? The drone is coming. He's gonna get tagged. There's no way to stop that. He's in a hell of a lot of trouble in this position. BCJ is up against everything right now. He's been set up by his teammates to succeed, but it's even better for Gen.G thanks to Kusta with an insane trio of kills from nowhere.
You failed. Now sleep.
That was incredible, that round. You feel like you have the world on top of your shoulders as soon as your teammate goes down, and doing so much work. You know, back in the day playing, you do 2 and you kill 2, you've done your job. You get in a third one, you're basically winning the round for your team in an instance like that. So props to Kusta.
Yeah, and to get that third one too, he was still holding down mouse 1 and he just started running with it. So it's so insane like how that third kill comes into being, and it just changed the rounds. This game, that could be the moment that really tips the game now. felt like XSET were really on track, but we'll see if they can recover from that. It won't mean too much if they can win this round. And they're actually just going for it towards A. They're not defaulting. They're not playing it slow. They're just going for the commitment towards A. But there's 3 players here.
A lot of util used without any return. This could help Gen.G as they just now have to fire. There's no extra util there for XSET. There was a nade, a showstopper, and people. Where are the smokes? Where's the distraction? Where's the chaos? Of course Gen.G is going to hit these shots.
That's really rough for XSET, just because that was just a great read from Gen.G. They were gambling that early in the early round timings. It was more likely there would be a lot of action towards the A site, and that was just a phenomenal read. And you can see that XSET had no idea that there would be 3 players here. They're hoping that there's going to be 1 player, maybe like that there's going to be a light hold and a retake setup, something like that. But it was far from that, of course.
Gen.G is making it look clean. Credit to them as well. They're giving XSET a tough time here as XSET battling back to grab these rounds here in the second half, and they're doing a damn good job at it, but it is game point. Their backs are against the wall, turning lights on the line here as Gen.G looks to move on if they can take this round. 21-14 from BCJ, the Sova initiator, popping off this game. Hopefully doing a little bit more for his team as they start to peek this C long, a place where they found a few early picks and possible advantages in previous rounds.
He's going to have the Hunter's Fury now as well.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely some opportunities. That Sean on the run it back, though, that's something that scares me for XSET's chances. I feel like that could be very dangerous. After that initial pressure, though, they will reset back out, running towards the A side of the map here. And how long will it take Gen.G to sort of realize this? At the moment, Gen.G are maybe expecting that XSET will just sit and then re-exec into the C side of the map.
Right.
We did get the info play with from the shadows from GMD just now, so it seems like Gen.G is starting to piece it together.
Win on top of the box, looking for a 1-in dash. Not going to find it just yet, so he falls off quickly. Here, XSET now trying to get inside. A little bit more util used right off the bat, so they push Gen.G back into it, and now they've gained a bit of ground. We did. Going to throw that spike down, and now the post plant is on for XSET.
Yeah, they did a really good job to get into this position. The retakes, or rather holding some of these sites, have been very difficult against Gen.G. They are playing out of their minds. A run it back again is available. There it is. It gets popped by Sean as he makes his way forward, trying to clear space, trying to trade out for his teammates. Not going to happen, though. It's looking pretty damn good right now for XSET, holding on to things. Sean is the last left, and he's going to be the last to fall in the round as XSET come to completion, and they managed to save themselves, bringing themselves up another round. They're trying to come back in this one. They're gonna have to force an overtime. It is an uphill struggle, to say the least, for XSET, but at least they're still in it.
Absolutely. It's so great to see that mentality shift is still positive, or not even mental shift if it's still there, just positive for XSET. They're not feeling like they have to play to not lose. They're still playing to win. They're getting into the sites. They're not afraid of Gen.G, even after all these rounds. Blade Storm might slow them down here, a neural uplink if they lose someone early, but they do have the Hunter's Fury. We've seen that a lot now on site entries, Dan. Instead of plants, we've seen that Hunter's Fury used to create chaos and open up these sites. Sean with a good push to start here.
Yeah, that's a great catch from Aaron there. And you may expect to have seen Weeded actually holding the C-long push. It's more typical of the Omens to use a TP to do that as opposed to a satchel being used from the Rays. So I wonder if they can gather too much info. And it's a reset back into the A site. And Michael's able to pick up an orbit to get his Hunter's Fury this round as well. So we know that that's very useful on the retakes. There's no run it back left available. So in terms of the ultimate economy, XSET's looking pretty strong here. And it is, though, the site that being given up for free, using from the shadows to clear things. Weeded now has that held position. But Kusta, can he cause any problems here with this Odin from heaven?
Shots start coming in. Here's the chaos coming in from one of those Hunter's Furies. Remembers BC Jace is back and still safe. He's running. He is heading for the high hills right now, and he's going to start firing it off. This is going to go towards the entry, slowing down the entry instead of the post plant. They don't even want Gen.G in that spike site, and it's a good hold so far. It looks like XSET may have this one locked down.
Oh, great trades coming through from XSET. They did an excellent job, and I think you made such a good point there, Riv, about using that Hunter's Fury to delay the push, because especially at that timing, Weeded had just died, so it's pretty good to just give some breathing room to the remainder of XSET so they can position in a way that's beneficial after losing that player and sort of reset that situation and allow themselves to take more control, burn more time. So it just you know, a lot of people might think, especially in matchmaking, you're playing more for yourself and you're going to be saving that for when they get onto the spike. But if you're going to, you know, if you got teammates alive, don't allow them to even get on the spike.
Gotta love it. Little innovations, the min-maxing we're still seeing here all the way through as VALORANT still hits that professional scene. Oh, okay, Hwin. He's getting pretty aggressive here. Let's see what he can do. Nope.
Juking the drone there. This is a little bit scary.
Everywhere.
Oh, you got to be very careful of what Hwin's able to accomplish. You can see that XSET are trying to take this slow. They've got lots of time. They don't need to rush things here. It's actually Gen.G that are feeling a little bit more like, okay, we've got to do something in this timing before they start moving towards the site. They've got players in position. It's a bit of a stalemate right now, but Hwin dropping the smoke, suggesting maybe that he's repositioning away from that smoke. And now Kusa's creeping up. This is extremely scary because if Kusa finds one, that's a problem. But XSET looks like they're good for the frags here. And I think the worst is, of course, being dealt with. And you know, Sean might get one with this Sheriff. The ion cannon, love it.
Yeah, free headshots, as I always say. A lot of those plays we just saw as well made on the opportune time of just something else happening on the map. Actually, we gotta focus on Sean here. Oh, he's gonna make some moves. Almost able to hit that off of the tracer fire on Thwyfo as he takes a bit of damage. But yeah, knowing there was such a hold there from Thwyfo on Hwin pushed up. But the moment Mikhail was able to find a kill and there was disruption on the screen, right? Something coming up, a frag, that's when Thwyfo peaked. The moment you might be thinking about something else, you have to use those moments to your advantage in any type of gameplay at any level.
Yeah, and this round we will see a different position from Hwin with the operator. Previously, he was working C long, he's going back to short. It looks like he may get aggressive, and XSET have been trending much more towards the A lobby side of the map, so he might get an opening pick here, and that could really cripple the beginning of this round. Actually just dropping the, because we saw the boombot coming through, so he has to give up that play. That's actually huge, and that's going to give a long control to XSET. They do have C long control as well. They've got mid as well. So it's all about resetting now. You can see them falling back out of this position. That forces Gen.G to have to regain information. And there's usually a delay before a team will do that. And there it is. The drone will clear A long. And Gen.G realize they're rotating off.
Ping. You know, Dan, that's something we pointed out as it looks like they're going to hit C, is that XSET would kind of give up too much info, not stay in areas, and have to then reconsider what they can take. Now that may be a situation over towards A, but they had that C coverage. Now they move as a death ball, and this has worked for them. Power and numbers for the team trading off each other. We'll see how much they work off of this drone. Ults up is Thwyfo's Neural Link, Blade Storm, as well as the showstopper to just Kusta's Neural Uplink. So here's the garage play coming in from XSET.
They burned the paranoia on C, so I think they always want to finish C here, so they're resetting into that. They wanted to try to force a rotation, didn't come through, but oh, they get the entries, Riv, and it's not looking too bad. But Kusta, this guy, he's been the man that's caused problems in the past on this site, but they'll take him down.
I don't know how that happened. He drew the most beautiful picture with ammo behind both of them. I've never seen that. Oh, it looked like the crosshair was right on it. You know, we've all been there. 12 to 10, that spike has been planted, and it looks so good here for XSET. This is something you want to see from the teams in the top 8. Not that they just fall behind and can't iterate to find ways in.
And I just love how they played the flow of this round, because they, with that really strong presence, A lobby at the beginning of the round, and the boombot forced back Win, so Win couldn't get an opportunity to pick with the operator. he couldn't get an opportunity to really do anything. He had to give it up, and he fell into the site. Then they had to burn a drone. Early round, they had to burn a drone, which is extremely valuable for usually the mid round, to clear a long to just determine that they rotated off. Then they're like, okay, they're going C. So the pressure comes in C, and the paranoia gets burned, but still there's so much time happening because of how quick XSET are moving. They can reset again. So they've wasted all the info utility, all the defense utility, and then they get to re-exec onto an Omen that doesn't have the paranoia. So yeah, the way that XSET played that round was awesome.
This is gonna be fun. Blocking sight. Get out of my way. Nowhere to run.
Here comes this Fury coming in from BCJ. Really needs a connection there. Doesn't manage to find it. A little bit of actually no damage done to Gen.G, and they got that opening bit of damage that, or rather, they got that opening pick. Sorry, I should say. Gen.G against XSET. So XSET, one more round's all they need, but I think this is the first round in a while, and they're going to start down 4 versus 5. They're going to mix things up, going for a heavy presence towards B. Win is going to get another one. Kuska swinging for the next, looking like a fantastic defense, not even able to get through the door. Completely denied XSET, and Pura coming through. Wow, okay. Did he just get a headshot with the knives and not get the kill? I don't even know, but it's the flawless round for Gen.G. Gen.G lock it down 2-0 against XSET. Great performance from them. And that's going to be them moving forward. And XSET, they're out of lives. I think they can't hear you, Rip. So I think Riz experiencing some connection issues. So you guys got me. And in terms of just like following up here, this was an amazing Gen.G that we saw. I think XSET really started to come into their own on Haven here as time went on that attacking side. But Gen.G, the way they were managing the information, the way they were playing tactically was really impressive. And I think they're going to be very dangerous moving forward. We already saw as well in some previous matches that they are doing better at being in a position to actually take these matches and close against the bigger opponents. I feel like I want Gen.G almost to be my dark horse pick in this tournament. It's quite difficult with all of these teams to pick one of those, but for me at least, that's what I'm feeling with the performances I'm seeing out of them. And I think it's definitely sad to see XSET go, but given the success that XSET has shown and given the kinds of innovations they're doing as a team and as players with lots of first generation Valorant players like we did, super exciting team. And of course, this is invaluable experience for them. So definitely excited to see what their future will be like, but it's all about Gen.G. And to talk more about that, we have the analyst coming up.
An unfortunate loss there for XSET, but it does go the way that we maybe anticipated the series would fall, as XSET just couldn't muster up enough. And even just looking at the scoreboard there at the end, if you actually look at the stats, BCJ at the top, and then it's 5 members of Gen.G, literally every member of Gen.G, before we see the next member from XSET on the scoreboard. Yeah. It just felt like XSET couldn't really get things going, but then they kept it close in the end. Looking at the tail end of that map, Vincent, it was starting to look like a comeback was possible, but it gets shut down at the bitter end.
Exactly. I think XSET finally figured out what wasn't working well for them. I think if you're looking back or reflecting back on Ascent going to Haven, what was the issue? They were peeking a lot versus Win or versus Sean. A lot of body peaks, right? And it didn't pay off in their favor. They're getting picked off, and they were always in a 1 or 2 man disadvantage going into the round. What happened towards the end tail of that series, though? You saw a little bit more utility coming out from Twyfo. You saw that they still played their 4-man, 5-man bio ball on these pushes, but what was good was that they went back and forth every single time. Depleting utility from Gen.G keeps Gen.G guessing where they cannot push for that aggression that we wanted from Win, for example, outside of B main. And when it comes down to the 5-man hits into the sites later, there's less utility for Gen.G to try to hold them back. And it comes down to the fights. You play for the trades, and next set, we're finally doing it well. It came out so close until that one single round towards the end of the game where they got into the site and it just got mowed down from Kusta, and that broke all the momentum. It
was really unfortunate. And Vans, you, me, and Potter were talking about it in the back, right? It was I was asking you about XS playstyle, and I was like, what can they do better to fix this against Gen.G? And you even called it, they're really good in team fights. You always see them in 4 or 5, a group of 4 or 5 people, and they push the site, and it works out well. But their biggest mistake was that they weren't checking corners. Kusta getting that 4K should have never happened. They pushed A one time, and I believe it was Win that went off with another a 3K, and GMD got a 2K. Stuff like that shouldn't have happened. And when it comes to the dry checks of face peeking, listen, when Win is popping off with the op and, Pure is 1 in 11, nothing against him, but he doesn't have the economy or the weapon to help him out or the team. You don't just keep jumping around trying to tease Win. He's going to pop you every single time, C-Long, and they just take advantage of them. The second half, everything changed, man. XSET looked way better. It was just way too late. I felt like if they fixed those minor mistakes in the first half and those big plays like Kusta, Win, GMD, coming out the corners and just winning with crossfires, I think that XSET honestly could have won this map.
So this is the thing we've said about this team in the past when looking specifically at Gen.G. It felt like Win was super inconsistent, but clearly that wasn't the case here. If he can stay on a form like this team has a serious fighting chance, because then it's not just Sean having to kind of pick up that slack. You've got Win. Speaking of Win, he's got the Verizon high-speed moment of the match as well, and it's no surprise. It's going to be from that first match when he was absolutely popping off. It's going to be the 4K here with the ult, where he just flies in. That second kill happens so quick onto Aaron, and he is just right-clicking, slicing, and dicing. The ace got stolen from him towards the end, but this could have been the first of 2 aces. There was an alternate option for the high-speed moment of the match presented by Verizon, and it was going to be the ult that came at the end of the game there, with number 13 being secured when we saw the knives go out just for the last kill. It was a 4K with the op before the knives came out. Quinn was really that X factor. He was that thing that drove them over the finish line for Gen.G. Potter,
He absolutely was.
one other thing to mention. Gen.G won 3 out of 4 pistol rounds.
3
How
out
are
of
you
4.
supposed to fight against that when you have a player like Quinn popping off and then you're losing pistol rounds?
Yeah, and I think that actually even illustrates it even further how much in the grasp of XSET this series could have, would have, should have been, right? Because in this highlight where Huynh gets that 4K, that half could have ended at a 4-8 deficit, but because on the back of that wombo combo with that Sova Hunter's Fury, finding out exactly where they are and Huynh making the space, that's what kind of catapulted that momentum back into Gen.G's favor on that map in particular. But yeah, I gotta shout out Huynh. Even when he's not headshotting, even when he's not putting the frags on the board, he's doing all of his other duties, all of his other responsibilities, being in his opponent's face, applying that pressure with Jet's kit. And every now and then he pops off and showcases a 4K or a 5-piece for himself. And that's kind of all you can ask for in your Jet player. So really solid stuff coming out from Gen.G. Although, again, XSET on Haven on the second map, there were those opportunities that we spoke of. They were controlling that mid game fairly well, but Gen.G, one step ahead, always had an answer.
Just to add to that, actually, Christine, talking about Huynh, where he doesn't have to do as much, right? He does what he needs to do, and it's good enough. Because now Gen.G also has somebody like Sean as a duelist to help him out. And they also have somebody like Kusta that's a great anchor player to help out in the frag department. When you think about Jets and you're thinking about, okay, if there's a Jet, they automatically have to perform very well, such as a TENS, for example, right? Or like a Wardell for TSM. But when you have more pieces into your whole team to make this more complete, where if Huynh falls, other people can pick up the slack, they have it for Gen.G right now.
We were talking about this as well during that map. What is the coach factor like right now for Gen.G? They bring over a tactical mind like MCE coming over from CS, who coached a variety of rosters, also was a player at one point in time, helping drive a young team formerly known as SOAR, eventually became known as Dignitas, make their way into the Pro League. How is that mind behind the game going to help Gen.G unlock a new level of play? Potter, we'll start with you there. Looking at a coach, what impact do we think someone like MC can have on this roster?
Ooh, you know, I think the biggest responsibility behind a coach is just figuring out what their strengths are and honing in on that, focusing in on that, and capitalizing on it, right? So for sure, MCE, you could see the inner workings of it within this squad. These guys are comboing really well. They're synergizing really well. And, you know, we highlight Kusa finding that three-piece over at that C site, but it's all thanks to the map control that they had prior to, and his teammate in GMD that was at that C site with him, synergizing well, bouncing that aggro off each other, and then in turn Kusa getting that three-piece for himself. So teamwork is the dream work, and you can absolutely see that Gen.G, they're putting it to him.
Well, the player we spoke about coming into the series was Gimon, and even though he was kind of upstaged a bit by Sean and Huynh, Sean in the first map a little bit with Huynh as well, we still want to see what he has to say about the series, and we've got Smix standing by for an interview to get us the answers to all of our questions.
Thank you very much, Buck. You are indeed correct. I'm lucky enough to be here with the man himself, GMD, after that convincing 2-0 over XSET. So first of all, congratulations, GMD. You know, falling to the lower bracket feels tough, especially when it was done in such a close series against the #1 seed in Envy. How much better does it feel to not only stay in the tournament, stay alive, but do so in such dominant fashion, 2-0?
Well, I think Envy is definitely not a team that you can underestimate. They've been doing insane. They won the last challengers. I mean, it was like a kind of a good thing as well. Like we competed with them. I think we could have won the map, honestly, 9-9 on bind third map. So I think like we kind of had this still the mood up and energy up as well. We were confident. I think we obviously didn't want to go out on a loss like today. I don't think it was like our time to lose right now. And I think like the last big tournaments that we kind of blew our chances. I think we're happy to like actually move on from just booming out from the big tournaments, you know. So that's a good thing for sure.
Absolutely. We saw it started out on Ascent, and Ascent was a map you played quite a number of times from Challengers 1 through 3, but it wasn't until Challenger 3 toward the latter ends that it became a map you actually chose intentionally yourself. And even today, we saw how impressive you guys are, especially on that defender side. So how much of an intentional focus was there on practicing this map and getting comfortable on it?
So first of all, since we have one map, we banned the same map over and over for now. Well, we have to be good on all 4 of them after. So obviously, bind we had issues at some points, but I think our ascent and Avon has been looking good. We've been practicing like quite a bit on it, like in scrims. We're confident with the map pick, honestly. Like we knew that phase, not phase, but except we're playing the same map as us. So we kind of like I thought that we had a good map pool against them, because I feel like we have the same maps, but we're just better on them, to be honest. So I think it was a good thing for us. We've been practicing quite a bit on these maps. Honestly, like I said, we're confident. Sometimes, obviously, like last time we lost to Immortals, I don't think it was like about the map or any strategy or anything. I think it was mostly like shut up, just running over us, and it is what it is. Sometimes it could be in the range as well. Like we could have played in the range, I think we would have lost either way. So I think that's obviously you can't look at these games and be like, we lost because we don't have a good map, like a good plan or anything. It's just shut up, stepped on us, and it is what it is. So we're happy with that set, and we're good now.
Absolutely. I saw another sort of recent addition to the team has been Kusta, who, you know, speaking of players sometimes just rolling over the opponent, Kusta absolutely showed up today with that impressive 3K. So talk about his addition to this roster and how he's opened doors for you as the IGL to level things up with your team.
So I think having like a guy like Kenny on the team, it's like a guy super there's a lot of experience that like kind of carries over in the game. Obviously he knows how to react to stuff, and he's like he doesn't get he makes very good decisions most of the time. So that helps. Obviously, like on CT side, I think he's been very helpful, because I feel like if you make the right move on CT side, you get map control or you get info quicker. So Kenny on CT side has been awesome for that. And on T side, as an IGL, I kind of have a lot of information from him. He's very vocal, so that helps me as well with the calling or anything. Just as someone he can take the lead, he can have good comms, good info as well on the map. So that makes it just easier on everyone, not just me, the whole team. When you know what's up in the map, then you can make better decisions.
It's awesome to hear. Yeah, it's awesome to hear how helpful he's been. And speaking of help, Coach MCE has also kind of come in to help you out. So I'm curious, coaches are obviously a great help for IGLs in a number of different ways. How does he help you specifically? Does he help you with anti-striding? Does he help you review VODs? Or does he help you as IGL?
Well, he does everything for us. Obviously, he's been an awesome coach ever since he joined. He's also like super objective. I've said it many times in interviews before, but he's been super objective. So sometimes I'm like we lose a round because of a stupid thing or a stupid mistake. Like he's gonna point out that mistake and not the whole strat. Like the whole strat was good. We messed up at that point. So I think he's been very helpful for that, like being objective. The preparation as well. He we don't counter strat that much, but since we watch the VODs a lot and then we have some tells, like we knew that what they were doing. Off like let's say like a camera here or like util somewhere. So usually he's good at like giving us tells and like heads up to something. So he's been very as I said, helpful. Like both of them have been super helpful. I can't find any other words for that. So
that's awesome to hear. And honestly, I think everyone has been so impressed with how Gen.G has been doing. Last question for you, GMD. Your next opponent is going to be the loser between the Sentinels and 100 Thieves. Both of them in interesting positions where Sentinels, despite having little to no practice with 10s, we still saw 10s popping off. And then on the flip side, with 100 Thieves, we saw Nitro quite comfortable on Sage, despite a lot of doubters that may have been out there. So what are your personal thoughts on how these two teams are shaking out?
I think how the team has been like they have so many like this is a stacked team, like a stacked roster. You have everything. You have the aimers in Asuna, you have like the experience in the Hiko, Steel, Nitro, like there's so and Hita now, like it's a scary team. Last time we played them, they had I don't think they had that much practice. So obviously like it looked a bit weird for them. I think that they're switching up from Omen to Sage for Nitro. So some good, like just some small adaptation that they need to make, obviously. But I think the other team is gonna be a scary team in the future with the players they have. Sentinels though, like Sinatro is like a kind of a insane player for them, and then Ten's coming in as like a Jet, Reyna, like duelist. I think that's pretty scary for any team. Like Tens is no like he doesn't need. He's just insane like mechanically, so I think that helps any team. Like if you have like an insane player like him, well, you can make magic happen for sure. So I think Sentinels having Tens is definitely not a downgrade for them, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a great team for now.
Well, I think there's no doubt that with the performance y'all have shown so far, it's going to be a great match no matter what for now. Thank you very much, GMD, for sharing your thoughts. Back to the desk with Bach.
Thank you.
Well, we got an answer to some of our questions. We got an answer to whether or not, the coach was going to have impact. We get to know what it is that Guimond gets from the coach of MCE. But I think more importantly right now, and what's on my mind, Vansili, is what next for XSET? Because when you look at the last couple of months, at the start of the year, they kicked things off with that big win in the NSG and Complexity Invitational, and everyone thought, okay, it's a new year. They've turned over a new leaf. Things are starting to click. And then more disappointment, more struggles. And, it's right back to kind of where they were with First Strike. At least they qualified this time around.
Exactly.
But then they don't pick up a win at the main event, which is what you're fighting for the whole time.
I don't think it's a bad thing, because as much as we talk about Gen.G with MCE added as a coach, don't forget that XSET also recently, maybe in a month and a half ago, added Psycho as a coach to the team. So maybe that's how we saw the result from XSET winning a couple of events and looking better here in the before getting into the VCT stages. And getting into the VCT stages, I think their goal was at least to make it to Masters. They've accomplished that. That's a great green check mark onto that list. I think going further for XSET in this bracket would have been only just bonuses for the team. I think they're still holding their head high. They're still comfortable. They're still happy with the results. And now they could go back and reflect on, okay, how does FaZe play? How does Gen.G play now going into the Masters? And Psycho is going to have that mind to help that team into the next level. I don't think we're going to talk about team changes or anything like that. I think maybe a difference in play style that's going to help them in the future.
Bach, I agree with that. I don't think any team changes are to be had because these players are absolutely incredible, right? There's one thing, though, and it comes back to a call that my man Rivington made. It was when they were pushing into A and they had no utility, no flashes, nothing. It was just bodies and a rocket launcher from Raze, the Showtime. I want to see them become more creative. They have a lot of creative pushes, and we did this on the team, so I know that creativity is there. They can't play naked all the time. They can't continue to go in blind and use their bodies to sacrifice for information. I want to see them become better at that and attack from more lanes. They got to become more diverse. Their team fights are great, but they need more spice, and I'm pretty sure they'll find that.
Well, that is it for XSET. Unfortunately, they are eliminated from the tournament as Gen.G will be moving on further in the lower bracket. And to find out who's going to be moving on from our other match, we've got a game coming up in just a bit. But before we jump into it, we're going to throw things to a quick break. When we get back, it will be Immortals versus LG, and it should be an absolute eater of a game. Stay tuned, and we'll return in just a bit.
Let's go. Apply now at redbullcampusclutch.com.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
It's so much more than just a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, as well as Discovery Plus, with a Galaxy S21 Plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best, only from Verizon.